So welcome everybody to the call tonight. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Michelle Lorenz. I am a diamond down here in sunny, hot Phoenix, Arizona, where it's still in the high 90s today. So we have not entered fall here in Arizona yet. We've got about another 2 months. Right about Christmas time, our fall starts. So thank you guys for joining me tonight. Jen is at the dog show showing her Alaskan Malamutes in best of breed competitions. So she asked me to pinch hit for her tonight. And so hopefully you'll pardon the lack of expertise with this webinar, and we'll get through it real quick. We've got a few other things that we added just because of some of the training that went on at the Diamond weekend, the Diamond training we had Friday before the convention. So we threw a few more things in there for this presentation if you've been on it before. So there's a few slight changes. If you hold on 1 second, and I will get us over to the presentation itself. And almost. Okay. So I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight, and especially if you are one of our new team members on our team. We are incredibly grateful that you've decided to join us on this really fun, amazing journey. We have an amazing, amazing team, starting at the top with Nat and Shanita, who are the #4 income earners in the world. Right below them, their daughter and son-in-law, both Chad and Nachita. They are the #8 income earners in the world. Then on to our team leader, Ramasio Fulcher, with Team It's Our Time. And we call him Moss. He is the #19 income earner in the world. I'm going to refer you guys back to the income disclosure that you can see at our website, which is www.worldgn.com, because we are going to be talking about income tonight. So I'm going to refer you back to that income statement if you have any questions. And then let's get started, because right after that, we're going to go to Seville and Rachel Coe, who are, we just found out today, in the top 10 income earners in all of North America in our company, and in the top 600 around the world. And finally, to our team leader, Jen Ramazki, our brand new president. Madam President Jen Ramazki has just ranked up as of about a week ago, and so we are celebrating her success. She has a heart of gold. She's always there for people. She's always, always, always willing to do whatever she can to help her team rank up. So we're really blessed to have her as our leader. And she's the one that actually started this training for us, because she recognized that there was an opportunity for us to help get you onboarded and launched right. So you guys, we're going to go over a couple of things tonight. First, we're going to talk about the checklist for how you get started and the best way to get started with our company. Obviously, you picked a package to join us, but we want to make sure that you guys also get enrolled for the loyalty membership. This is really, really critical. And initially, when all of us enrolled, we used to be able to click a box where we would join the loyalty membership at the same time. That no longer happens. So if you have not received a $59 monthly charge and overhead, you need to make sure you get enrolled for that. That's the way your distributor points come. And you see all of these amazing things that come along with the $59 in loyalty. You get the Hilo Pro plan, which gives you the cloud storage space for all of your data. You get a protection plan, so if you drop it, step on it, the dog chews it, like Jen's Alaskan Malamutes, those get replaced after 2 free replacement devices in a year. But the really cool thing is that you get $75 worth of loyalty points. So it's a screaming deal, because you pay $59 and you get $75 worth of points. And here's what's really cool. We just learned at our national convention last weekend that those points, that's going to be the only way you're going to be able to buy the new Infolio phone. You're going to have loyalty points. No outside retail sales are going to be allowed. We've got a really amazing phone that's going to have the BIOS and protection built into it. So you have to have the loyalty points. So if you aren't on loyalty right now, make sure you get on it as soon as possible. Go into your back office and you can register for that under your products and get that amount paid and have it automatically deducted. And then, you guys, one of the things I'll mention, I talk about it in the webinars that I do, is this for me, the business associates that I've worked with, they thought this was just a screaming deal, because you're only paying $60 a month in business overhead. And most of them pay anywhere from like $100,000 a month in overhead to several $1,000,000 a month in overhead to run their businesses. So for them, this $60 a month with an opportunity to earn the income that we're going to talk about, that was a slam dunk for them. So a lot of people ask, what am I getting in return for this? You're getting a screaming deal to own your own business for only $60 a month in overhead. But here's what I want to talk about, because there's actually been a slight change in this, and I don't have the slide to change it. But right here where it says $59, that's the amount you get paid. We used to get paid off of 2 parts of that. We would get a 10% commission on the Fast Start bonus, and then we'd get our 20% team volume commission once you ranked up to team builder. What the company has done is a new team developer bonus pool. We're going to talk about it towards the end of this presentation, but I want to make sure that I correct it on this slide so you know that there is no longer going to be a 10% commission paid on the loyalty, and instead that's going to go into a pool that is a really lucrative pool for a whole lot of us. And so for those of you that weren't at the convention, Alessandro Senatore is the man who designed our comp plan, and he said in his very adorable Italian accent, $6 not so sexy. And so they decided to make this team developer pool that was a whole lot sexier for us. So we'll talk about that a little bit at the end, but that's how you get started. You buy the bundle that you like, and then you join our loyalty membership. And so what we want to encourage you to do as you're getting started with us is to use the tools that we have, use the system we have, because it's put together by people who are making 6 and 7 figures, and it's here to make it easier for you. So copy it. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. So we have all sorts of different tools to work with. We have several different Facebook groups. Jen is our team leader. She has her page, TeamBIG. And then Seville and Ramasio have their own Facebook pages as well. Take Action and Team It's Our Time. Whoever sponsored you in should actually enroll you in those pages already. They'll add you as a member, so you should already be involved. And then they'll post a picture of you and introduce you to our team so that everybody knows who you are. There's a couple websites you need to be familiar with. WorldGN.com is the corporate website. And then we have CNWorldGN.com, which is for Chad and Natita, right? Or I guess it could be for Nat and Shanita as well. But so both of our team leaders over in Thailand are global master distributors, as well as their children here in the United States, who are the #1 people in North America. You can enroll on their websites, and it's really, really important to go to cnworldgn.com and subscribe, because they send out emails to us based on who's subscribed. So if you want to keep informed with what's going on with the company, that's the way to do it, okay? And then your own site is your username, whatever it is. So my username is HeloHalo. So my site is helohalo.worldgn.com. So get used to using those sites. We also have a marketing site. You pay $39 a month for it. It's your helo.life site. Ramasio and Seville have reiterated over and over and over again that other people use other systems, but this is the system that Nat and Shanita, Chad and Natita, Ramasio and Seville all use. And so they encourage everybody to get involved in the helo.life site and go to your sponsor's Helo page or helo.life page. If they don't have a helo.life page, you can go to the IoT page, which is Ramasio's. And at the very bottom, if you scroll to the very bottom of that page, so mine, for example, would be helohalo.helo.life. There's a little link at the very bottom that says get a site like this. So if you choose to enroll there, you click that button and it'll provide your own marketing site. I have it on good news, good word from a little birdie, that is actually what Jeremy Roma and Ramasio are going to be talking about tonight, some enhancements and improvements to the helo.life site. We got a little bit of a sneak peek at them in the Diamond training on Friday before the convention. So if you don't have the site or you decided you didn't want it previously, you might want to re-examine that, because there's some really, really cool features that are going to be coming out with it. So make sure you get on Ramasio's call a little less than an hour from now at 6 o'clock Pacific time. That's on his 557-557-000 number, 4 zeros, I'm sorry, 0000. Get on that. He's going to talk about the changes to the helo.life site and maybe some other things, but certainly that. And then finally, write this number down, take your phone, program it into your phone. I have people asking me all the time, what's the number for customer service? What's the number for customer service? Program it into your phone so you can give it to your team when you set them up as new members as well. It's real simple. It's 844-WORLD-GN. So 844-967-5346. Okay? So these are the tools that are there for you to utilize. Make sure you talk to your sponsor and that they've walked you through all these pages. On each of these pages, you're going to find some documents that you can look at, some videos that people want you to watch, including a video by Ramasio that's called Getting Started. And it takes you through an entire document, the videos you need to watch and the things you need to do. We're going to give you a high-level overview of some of that today. So one of the most important things, you guys, is to make a list. And don't be stubborn like I did. I had never done network marketing before, those of you that know my history. And so when they told me to make a list, I thought, well, I have it in my phone and I have it on my Facebook page. That's wasted productivity. Why do I make a list? The reason you make a list is because it matters. Hey, you guys, if we can ask you to mute yourselves, that'd be cool. Let me pause everybody for a second. So folks, as I said, make your list. Don't assume that it's okay if it's in your phone. There's something magical that seems to happen when you actually take pen and put it to paper. So I actually have a notebook, And I have several pages. I have my, my contacts broken down by the type of business they do or where I know them from. So I have several pages of high school friends, college friends, law school friends. I have pages of friends in the Malamute world, pages of lawyers that I've worked with, pages of engineers, pages of hunters. I've kind of grouped people together so that it helps me kind of like trigger my memory. Estheticians, salons, anybody that does my hair or my nails, anybody that provides a service like that, my dry cleaners, the banker, the lady at the bank that I talk to. So I've tried to group them together, and then there's something that's not on this slide that I definitely want to go over with you, and it came from Shanita, if any of you have watched her Facebook Lives that she was doing. So first of all, for those of you that are brand new, we have two things called a warm market and a cold market. Warm markets are the people that you know. That's going to be the place where you get started with this because it's a little bit easier to talk to some of those people, right? So you're going to make your list of your warm markets, but you're also going to put your cold markets together. And we're going to talk about how to approach those in a little bit here. But your warm markets, put those in your notebook, write them down. I write just a few words beside it, you know, if they've done network marketing before, if they're in any of the hot areas, the healthcare, real estate, fitness, the female realtors that love this, absolutely right. Anybody that owns their own small business has been an entrepreneur before, and certainly people that have done network marketing. And then over in the left margin, what I do is a tip from Shanita. And I love, love, love this because it's actually refined who I go after. So she said, somebody taught her when she was brand new in network marketing, that you should go after SWANs. And SWAN stood SWAN. And so I write over in the left margin if people are any one of these four letters. And so a SWAN, she actually says it applies to two things, somebody who is smart, so, and the other one is that somebody is sharply dressed. And she emphasized, and if you've ever seen her at any of our conventions or even on the lives, that you always dress for the position you want, not the position you have. That's certainly something that applies in all of corporate America as well, not just here in network marketing. So the S would be somebody who is smart and somebody who is sharply dressed, who is going to act and convey themselves as a professional in any of the interactions that they have. The W stands for work ethic. And so you want somebody who's willing to go hardcore, whether they're going to work in the nooks and crannies of their lives, because that's okay if they're going to work 2 hours a week or 5 hours a week part-time, but you want to make sure that those people are going to work for 2 hours and 5 hours a week and not just play on Facebook and pretend that they were working, right? Because this is network marketing, means that it's a job. It's not just a hobby, and there's not a money tree that falls mysterious or dollar bills fall mysteriously off of them. So we actually have to put the work in. So make sure you find people who put in work ethic. I'll give you guys an example. This morning, I have a new team member. I'm in the West Coast. They're out in Central Time and East Coast Time. And you know what? We had a conference call at 3 a.m. this morning. I'm obviously trying to build my organization and pushing hard. And so sometimes you make sacrifices. And this morning, that was sleep on the end of a week where we were getting a whole lot of no sleep at the convention. So I needed to make up time because we spent so much time in the convention where we weren't generating income. And so one of the things that Moss taught us on his Power of Two calls that he does on Wednesday for people that earn into his training and his mentorship, he emphasizes over and over again that working means income producing activity, right? Income producing activity. As much as personal development is essential, that's not an income producing activity. It's something you need to do to be better, but it's not income producing. So make sure you have as part of your recruits and the people you're going after, people who are willing to put in the time. Like it's, whether I said it's an hour a week, 2 hours a week, 5 hours a week, or 40 plus hours a week, when they're working, they should be working hard at this. And then the A stands for attitude. And so those of us that have been in the company for a while, we've had some hiccups this spring, right? It's a ground floor opportunity to make great money. With that comes with some ground floor challenges. So we had some shipping challenges earlier on. We were in pre-launch of our product and we didn't get our product right away. And recently we've had some credit card issues that have been resolved. Those are all things that happen in every single brand new startup company, every single ground floor opportunity. And they're enhanced a little bit with us because we're in 195 countries. And so we have different banking issues, different regulation issues that most network marketing companies don't have to deal with. And so you want somebody who has a good attitude, somebody who's going to be willing to say, I'm blessed. And so I'm blessed because I'm landing on the ground floor of this company. And in fact, when I talked to some of my business associates about this, people that had never done network marketing before, here's a reflection of the mind of an entrepreneur. So most of my clients are in the crane and rigging world, or they own their own insurance brokerages, and they've all been entrepreneurs, some for second and third generations in families, but some started their own crane companies themselves. And when I talk to them, And I said, you know what? Our product's not shipping right now. We're on back order. And without exception, every single one of them said, that's amazing. I want in. They didn't view that as a negative. And while it was a little frustrating to deal with people going, why don't I have my product yet? The people who've made money, the people that have built their businesses, they were all raving about the fact that it was on back order, because that meant there was a demand and that it was an unfulfilled demand. And that meant that our company was going to keep growing. That's a reflection of attitude, right? You have people who know that having those challenges means that you're going to have bigger rewards. Other people who said, oh, shipping, I don't have my product, I can't possibly sell this. Another reflection of shipping is Shanita said when she first got started, if you haven't heard her story, that when they first got the product, when they first got their distributorship, they only had a drawing of a helo. They didn't even have any videos or anything. They had a PDF drawing of what a helo was going to look like. And they went to market and ranked up to President Millionaire with a drawing. That's what she was able to do with a positive attitude. Or, another great example, Keith Halls spoke at Jeremy Roma's a Disrupt event in Las Vegas this last summer. And he told us when he started Nu Skin, when they were one of the original 7 founders, he said, startups have hiccups. And he said they were contacting their customers to send used baby food jars so that they could put their skincare products in. They didn't have any packaging yet. And that's how the customers sent stuff in, so that they could use those baby food jars for packaging. So that's a great reflection, you guys, of attitude. Attitude matters. And it's part of the reason, if you've ever been to Ramacio's events as well, that he always talks about you feel good, you do good. There's music playing in the background. He gets people up dancing, because you can't help but do better when you're smiling. You can't help but do better when you have a positive attitude. And that's so incredibly important, especially in this industry, because, I can tell you, coming from a non-network marketing background, you're going to have a lot of people that are going, oh, hey, what are you doing, Michelle? What are you doing that network marketing thing for? And you have to be able to proudly stand up and say, I'm doing it because it's the best opportunity of my lifetime. I'm doing this because I've never had a chance to secure my family's financial future like this before. And I would be so excited and proud to have you come on this journey with me. You have to be able to convey that to them, or they're not going to be there. So we talked about S for sharply dressed and smart, W for work ethic, A for attitude, and then N is for network. So network can be network marketers. Obviously, people that are network marketers make it a little bit easier to bring them into this company. They understand compensation. They don't have the typical objections to MLMs. But network doesn't just mean that. Network means somebody that has a network of people with influence, network of people that it can afford $1,500. When we went recruiting up in Minneapolis at Ramacio's 72 Hours of Power event, he sent us out in the field, and we ended up deciding to go over to the Gophers football game, and people were tailgating. And it didn't dawn on me until we were there that the people that we were recruiting there, they had money because they had season tickets. And so for them, it was more likely that they were going to be able to put $1,500 on their credit card. That's an example of recruiting people who have a network, or to have network and net worth, both. So think about that. And then I got to tell you, the other thing Shanita said that really, really impressed me is N stood for nice. And she said she didn't care how much success somebody had had previously. She didn't care how many network marketers they brought with them. If they weren't ethical, she didn't want to do the business with them. And I've heard Chad say that as well. And so let's go over those. On your left margin of all of your 100 prospects, you're going to look for somebody who's smart and sharply dressed. Put an S if that fits you, that person. Put a W if they have good work ethic. Put an A next to them if they have a great attitude, and put an N next to them if they have a network and they're ethical and nice. And so after you finish going through your 100 people on your prospect list and you've written those letters, what you want to look for to put at the top of your organization are the people that are swans. And Shanita said the best way to build your organization is to find those kind of people who are professional, who are smart, who are ethical, who have a network and have a positive attitude and a great work ethic. And that's the kind of foundation that you want to build your organization on. So that's what I did with my prospect list when I finally decided to put it together. And I can tell you, when I targeted the people that were swans, I started seeing my business explode. So now let's go on. You guys see here the 2-7-30 system. And what you see on this slide, pardon the, I'm a Dodger fan, so I put a baseball diamond in here with the Dodgers on it. So this is my editing for tonight. We'll take this out and put a regular slide back in next time. But I want to take you down through the 2-7-30 system. For everybody that's brand new on this call, this is the system that the people have used to build their success in this organization. It's what Nat and Shanita use, Chad and Natita, Romacio, Seville, Jen, myself, and all the other diamonds that are on our team. So we start out with a 2-minute video. Your job is not to sell the helo. Everybody write that down. My job is not to sell the helo. And that's what we all go into this thinking. So I want to kind of reiterate a couple of things that Romacio emphasizes over and over and over again. He says, amateurs sell products, professionals sell vision. If all you're going to focus on is selling one helo, the amazing product that it is, that we love, the reason that we all have the opportunity that we do is because this product's so amazing and so different and such a trendsetter and a category creator. But if all you focus on is selling the product, you aren't going to explode your organization. You have to convince people about this opportunity being unlike anything they've ever had before and make them want to get involved in the opportunity side of it as well, not just be a salesperson. But whichever way you're going to start with, if you're going to lead with the product or you're going to lead with the opportunity, you do not vomit on people. You do not talk to them for 20 minutes about why they should buy this before they've seen the 2-minute video. You need to let the tools do their jobs. So you could go dig a hole in the ground with your hand and you could get it done, or you could use the backhoes that are meant to dig it and you could dig a big hole for a swimming pool. So what we're giving you is the big backhoe to do the work for you, so you don't have to do it. So start with the 2-minute video, and we're going to go through a couple of scripts and alternatives that you can use to suggest people to use the 2-minute video, but I want to go over a few things that you shouldn't do, and things that I did. So learn from my mistakes, don't do it. Always, 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 always get permission before you send somebody the 2-minute video. You don't walk up to somebody's house, open up the screen door, and walk in and talk to them for 2 minutes without getting permission. You go up and you knock on the door and you ask them to let you in. That's the same thing you do with our 2-minute video. You don't just say, hey, I'm involved in this new business, take a look at my video, because that's spamming. And part of the reason that network marketers have bad reputations is because they don't act like a business professional. You wouldn't walk up to a lawyer's office or an accountant's office and barge into their office and go by the receptionist and go by their secretary and just sit down in their office. And that's the equivalent of what you're doing when you spam them with a video. So don't ever, ever, ever do that. You want to ask permission from them to do it. And if you use Eric Worre's phrase, everybody here, if you're new to the team, make sure you get a book called Go Pro by Eric Worre, W-O-R-R-E. It's kind of the Bible of the network marketing industry. And Eric Worre always says, if I, would you. So you're always going to end every one of your invites that we go through here with a if I sent you a 2-minute video, would you take a look at it? Hey, if I sent you a 7-minute video, would you give me your opinion on it? If I, would you? So write that down. That should be at the end of every single presentation when you're asking somebody if they'd look at the 2-minute, the 7-minute, or if they get on the webinar. So the other thing is to make sure you build rapport before you get on a call with anybody. You don't just want to pick up the phone and talk to somebody and ask them the first thing you want to talk to them about is the helo. You want to build rapport. You want to find out what's been going on in their lives, depending on if they're a close friend or somebody you haven't talked to in a while. I did a presentation with one of my friends on my team last weekend when we were in Vegas, and we sat down and we talked about dogs for about half an hour before we ever even mentioned the helo. And that, think about an analogy. Travis Flaherty mentioned once, when you think about a boxer, and a boxer's got his arms up here, and if you want to be able to get to him, you need to get him to let his hands down, right, to let you be able to get in. And one of the things that I never knew before is that 80% of the people who make a buying decision, 80% of the time, they need 5 exposures. 5 exposures. That's why Super Bowl advertising works. That's why advertising in magazine works, because we've seen a car that we like, we decide to buy it, or we see the makeup or a pair of great shoes, and we decide we want to buy it before we've gotten to the store. That's why advertising is successful, because it's exposing you to the product over and over again. So in this same way, don't expect that you're going to show somebody the 2-minute video and they're going to want to buy it. You have to understand that you're going to typically need an average of 5 exposures. Now that 5 exposures can be something that shows up on your Facebook page. It can be, you talking to somebody about it when you're doing a Zumba class and just saying, oh my gosh, I'm just checking my heart rate. I'm looking at my helo. It can be something where I'm standing in the grocery store line with the regular clerk that I'm with, and I set my helo to send an alert to my phone. And they go, what's that? I'm like, oh, that's just my helo. It's reading my blood pressure right now. And they go, what? So those can be exposures too. But make sure you understand you're going to typically need 5 of them. And so the first one is the 2-minute video. So if you start trying to sell somebody the product, at the first occasion you've talked to them, you're going to turn them off. And so let the video do the selling. This product is amazing, you guys. It's what most of us fell in love with. Let the product do the work for us, right? Let it do the work for us. So, okay, then we've talked about this, the 2-minute video, and I'm going to tell you the biggest mistake that people make. The biggest mistake they make is they say too much. So you should be saying less to more people. You shouldn't talk to one person for 100 minutes. You should talk to 100 people for 1 minute. That's what you need to do to get them to first base. The 2-minute video, the 7-minute video, it's first base. Make sure you do all of that. And then when you invite them to watch the 2-minute video, you say to them, hey, when would you have a chance? And I always tell them it's a 2-minute video, because really, who doesn't have 2 minutes to give? Hey, when can you give me 2 minutes to take a look at this video? If I sent it to you, would you take a look at it tonight? And they say yes or no. Hey, it's real short. It's just a 2-minute video. If I shot it over to you in the morning, would that be a better time for you? So get a time commitment and make sure you don't send it to them until the time when they can watch it. Because if I send it today and they're not going to have time till Saturday, it's going to be buried in their text messages and they're not going to see it anyway. So one of the other tactics I'll use if I'm on the phone with someone is like, oh my gosh, I have this really great company I'm involved with. Hey, if I sent you over this video, would you take a look at it? I'd love to hear your opinion. I'll sit and wait. If I send it over to you right now, would you watch it right now? And then we can chat about it. See how easy that is if you just do a quick blur. And almost everybody I've said, hey, would you take a look at it? I'd love to hear your opinion. And they say, yeah. So that's how you start with a 2-minute video. And then as soon as they finish, you follow up with them and you say, hey, you know, what did you like best about it? And whatever they say, oh, I love the panic button feature. Oh my gosh, me too. My 79-year-old dad loves it. Oh, well, I love the blood pressure. You know what? Me too. Actually, I noticed that when I wake up in the morning, my blood pressure is high. It needs to be authentic. It needs to be authentic. We all love so many things about this product. It's not inauthentic because we love all of the features. So talk to them about that. Validate that. Never ever ask somebody, what did you think? Because you always want to encourage somebody to give you the positive response, right? As a lawyer, we don't ask jurors questions we don't know the answers to. We don't ask witnesses questions we don't know the answers to. Ask them how that turned out when they asked O.J. Simpson to put the glove on, right? You never ask something you don't know the answer to, which is why you always want to ask them the positive question. What did you like best? Not what did you think, okay? So that's first base. You want to get them to first base, and most of us have a decent amount of success from that. Ramasio calls this, you know, his ratios, his exposure ratio. So he says most people you have to ask, you know, it's 1 out of 10, 1 out of 20 to get them to take a look at this, and he gets decisions. So every day, he gets when he was recruiting, when he was ranking up to President Millionaire, he was showing this to about 75, asking 75 people a day to take a look at the video for him. 75 people. So depending on whether you're doing this part-time in the nooks and crannies of your life or you've got big, big goals like Ramasio, you need to figure out how much success you're having, what your ratio is, and based upon that, that's how many people you have to talk to on a daily basis. So if you're closing 1 or 2 people, you're getting them on board to look at everything, you don't have to talk to as many. So you build up your skill set and you can decrease the number of exposures. So that's how you decide how you're going to build that. But then after you get them to first base, now you get to get them to the second base. And this is, again, where people start talking too much. So remember, this is the job of the people like me and Jen and Justin and Beth and Mike and everybody on Diamonds on your team. Take advantage of us. Let us do the heavy work for you. Let us do the heavy lifting. That's why we have these webinars. That's why we do launch calls for you. So you need to decide, right, if you can get somebody on a launch call where it's just your people, you can get 20 confirmed, or whether you're going to work with our webinar system that we have. Steve Carter is brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. The best webinar I've seen, Ramasio's favorite, mine as well. It's about 35 minutes long, and he goes through everything. He's incredibly articulate and professional. The PowerPoint is brilliant. If you've got somebody who's a detail freak like me, I'm still doing live webinars. I needed a little bit more information. I needed the third-party validation. But there's plenty of us that are diamonds that will jump on, or presidents like Jen that will jump on and help you. So figure out what's going to work best for your prospect. You know your prospects, especially in your warm market. I have guys on my team who couldn't sit through an hour webinar of mine if I tied them to a chair to do it. I know they've got ADD. I would not invite them to one of my webinars because they wouldn't stay on board for the whole time. So be aware of who your team is. If you've got somebody who's a police officer, send them to something with Lee and Gary. Use affiliation like that. If you've got strong professional business women, we got a lot of professional business women that do calls. So try to find the webinar that is going to best suit your prospect and get them to that, okay? And so webinars, make sure to still say less to more people. If people start asking you questions and you say, yeah, I'm talking to my prospect, what are you talking to them about? Because what you should say is, you know what, I've just been involved in this. I value your question so much. I want to make sure I get you all the right answers. And so I'm going to give you to one of my diamonds or one of my leaders or one of my business partners. I use the phrase business partners because most of my friends don't come from network marketing. And so I want to treat this the same way with the words and the semantics that they're used to. So I use phrases like business plan and business partners and business strategies. I use investment portfolios. I use those phrases that they are used to hearing. But so I'm going to say, I'm going to get you to my business partner and let them talk to you. And they're going to give you almost all the answers you need. And if there's any questions you have after that, then we'll talk about those. But this webinar is going to satisfy almost everything you need. That's how you divert them to the webinar and get them there right away so that you don't end up fielding calls that you're not, or questions that you're not ready to field yet. But the most important part is there's a reason that third-party validation works. It's what worked for me when I went and did 2.5 months of research. I looked to Forbes and Wall Street Journal and Business Insider and Tractica and TED Talks. I needed those things to validate the company opportunity for me. That's the same reason doing a webinar and let somebody else besides you answering the calls, because it's third-party validation. So make sure you get them to the webinars. If they're too busy to do a live webinar, Steve Carter's recorded webinar, it is the bomb. It is the best. It's the best. It's the best, right? Love, love, love it. But you're going to do the same thing after a webinar that you did after the 2 or 7 minute videos. You're going to say, hey, what did you like best? And you're going to find out what that is. You're going to agree with them. And then you're going to go into some other questions. We're going to talk about the 5 questions that you can use in the lead up to the third base, the 3 bases you're going to run around. And then the third base, if you can't get them closed, if they're not ready to buy, at the end of the webinars, we'll always say, are you an A, a B, or a C? We're going to ask people if they're in and they're ready to get on now and get in before somebody else does, because we know that timing and positioning matters. Or we're going to ask them if they're a B. And if they're a B, right away, you guys, every webinar you invite people to, you need to text them right away that night or pick up the phone right away and find out that night if they're an A, a B, or C. And if they're C and they're not interested, ask them for a referral. But if they're a B, you need to find out what their objection was. What do they need more information about? Is it the product? Is it the compensation? Is it network marketing? Is it that they don't have the time or they don't have the money? Find out what their objections are and why they're still a B. You can get back to your upline and we can help you navigate around those questions, or we can get them on a 3-way call with us if it's necessary, which is third base. So we're going to move people around the bases. And you guys, if you do the things like this, if you spam them in their inbox, if you talk to them for half an hour before you get them on the webinar, you're going to do what the battery is on the top of this slide. You're going to swing and miss. Everybody keeps asking me, especially this last couple of weeks, I'm finally getting my mojo. I mean, I've been doing this since the middle of May, and it took me a couple months to kind of get into the groove. I had some success, and I ranked up it after about 6 weeks, but then I kind of faltered, and I was struggling a little bit to get back into my game. And it wasn't until I started feeling comfortable with the rhythm of this, and I felt comfortable with the 5 questions, and I felt comfortable without having to look at things, and it gave me more confidence. Because that's the other thing that matters, you guys. When you're talking to these people, you can't approach them with anything other than just pure, unadulterated passion about this. Think about, like, when you have a puppy, right? Jen and I raise Alaskan Malamutes. And when my puppies come in and they're excited to see me, and that's the kind of joy that you should have about this opportunity, because it's an opportunity unlike anything any of us have ever seen. I've never had an opportunity like this in my professional career. I'm 54. And this is the best opportunity I've ever had. And I want people to know how excited I am about it when I talk to them about it. And you know what? That's why I don't send a lot of text messages, because none of what I just told you comes through in text messages. You don't get to hear my intonation. You don't get to hear my crazy Latina hands. Right? You don't get to see them. You don't get to see my smile. You don't get to see my eyes brighten up when I talk about it. That's what they need to hear in your voice. So even if you're going to use text messages to contact people, you're going to send them a text and say, hey, do you have a few seconds to chat? Because if you ask the same thing in person or over the phone that you just asked in a text message, you're going to have way more success. People still want connections, even millennials. And you may do a little bit more via text, but people are going to respond when they hear and see your passion. And that's so, so, so important to your ability to get people around the bases on this diamond. So, everybody's like, hey, what do you say? What do you say? So Jen put a bunch of scripts together. And you know what, you guys, the one that's worked really great for my team, we've been doing launch calls this week, is, hey, you know what? I've got an incredible opportunity. I'm going to send you a 2-minute video. If I send it to you, would you take a look at it? And I would love for you to get on this call tomorrow night. What did that take? 15 seconds? That's what they did. Or they call and they say, hey, I've only got a few minutes. I'm running in to train a client. But listen, I'm involved in this crazy new business opportunity. I'd love for you to watch this, but then I really need you to check this out. Will you do me a favor and jump on this webinar tomorrow night? Take 30, 45 minutes. And everybody's coming on these webinars. It's that simple. Now, I use a couple different things. If I'm recruiting a white-collar professional and we're going to do a training about that, I may say to them, you guys, I compliment them. And this came from Steve Carter. This is how he suggested introducing himself to somebody. Compliment somebody because everybody wants to hear about themselves, and then go into your presentation, right, to them. Oh my gosh, you guys, I have mad respect for you. You've been my client. You know how much I respect your business acumen. I also know how many alternative income streams you have. I just found an alternative income stream that I think would be perfect for you. If I sent you a 2-minute video, would you be willing to take a look at it? So I just complimented and told them they're great businessmen, and I know that they have a lot of successful alternative income streams. If it's somebody that I know really, really well, and a client that I've had a long-term relationship with, I may give them some more information. I may say something like, oh my God, check this out, you guys. I just got involved in this business opportunity. I'm pioneering the launch of a tech company. We've got 5% market share, 800% growth in our stock, and the industry is going to have $120 billion in growth in 20 years. Can you freaking believe that? This would be a perfect opportunity. I'd love to see if this would round out your investment portfolio. If I sent you a 2-minute video, would you take a look at it? Because I know that you don't have anything in your portfolio performing with 5% market share, 800% growth in its stock, and there's nothing in our industry that's growing $120 billion, right? Right? I ask them right because I want yeses. I want yeses. Yeses. Remember, 5 exposures, 5 yeses. You need to get those yeses. But here's some other examples on the screen. Jen actually did this when she called up my sponsor, Joanne, in Australia. She said, oh my God, Joanne, you're not doing that. You're doing this with me. I'm going to send you a 2-minute video. Will you watch it? I walked into my esthetician one day and I said, Kelly, I know you don't do network marketing, but you got to watch this video for me. Promise me you'll watch it. If I send it to you, will you watch it? And she said, how could I not with that passion you just talked with? She said, Michelle, you're glowing. That's what happens. See, what you guys need to understand is it's not so much what you say, it's how you say it. It's the passion that you lead people into this opportunity with and the confidence that you lead them into this with. So for the women on the call, I'm obviously not a man, so I don't know if men have this same thing, but when you're getting dressed for a date and you put on a great dress and you've got a sexy pair of shoes, or you found a great makeup that you love, or you just got your hair done or your nails done, and you kind of walk out of the salon or you're getting ready to go into the event and you're like, I got it tonight. Like I'm feeling good. I'm feeling sexy. I got my touch. That's the way you've got to approach business partners too, because nobody is going to follow you if they think they're 10s, if they're great businessmen, if they're great network marketers, they're not going to follow you if they think you're a 2. So whether you are a 10 or not, you got to make people who are following you believe it. I know I'm a 10. I know I am. And I know what? Anybody that comes with me, we're going to be winners together. So you can choose to not come with me, your choice. But if you link arms with me, we're going to be up on stage together. So that's your choice. I make it seem like it's a privilege for them to join this team with this company, with this product, with this opportunity. It's their privilege to be with us because this is something they've never seen before. And if you go at them like that, and you guys, you got to believe it's authentic, because if it's not authentic, if that's not what you believe, they're going to shut the door. They're not even going to watch the 2-minute video. You absolutely have to believe it. But if you got to go at them with confidence, okay? So now these are the questions. These are the 5 questions Ramasio designed. He designed these and he took them over to Chad and Natita, and they actually incorporated them over in Asia, and they decided to use what Moss developed. So these 5 questions, and when we went to Miami, you guys, for probably an hour and a half, 2 hours, we sat and repeated these questions with a partner for 2 hours straight until we didn't have to read them anymore. You know these questions over and over. So stand in front of the mirror and practice them over and over. And the reason there are these 5 questions, he gets 5 yeses. So remember what I told you before, 80% of the people need to have 5 exposures and 5 yeses before they say, okay, I'm going to do this. And so Moss designed these questions with that in mind. So I'm going to start with, hey, are you familiar with Fitbit or Apple Watch? So most people, unless you're like my 79-year-old dad, say, yeah, they know what it is. And so you've gotten 2 things. You've gotten a visualization in their mind. Now they're imagining what a Fitbit or Apple Watch looks like, and they just said yes. So you've actually kind of gotten 2 yeses to start out with. I will tell you, you see, I actually inserted something here. If I'm talking to somebody in my world of the crane and rigging industry, I actually put a question in first that, remember I told you about the hands, the boxer's hands. I get them to drop their hands a little bit by talking to them about their world. So if your world is car racing, or if your world is being a vet tech, try to think of something analogous. I'll tell you what I do. There's a thing on a crane called an LMI, which stands for load moment indicator, and it's an innovation in the crane that's like the brains of a crane. It's a black box, if you will, of a crane when the crane operator's operating it. Came out in the early 90s, and it changed the crane and rigging industry. So what I start with when I talk to my crane guys alone is like, oh, I got you guys, do you remember who designed the LMI? Like, that came out like in the early 90s, right? Wasn't that right? And they go, yeah, early 90s. So I got in one yes. And then I say, God, we have those LMIs. We have them in every crane around the world. I can't even imagine what the guy that designed an LMI, I wonder who owns that patent. Man, if you could have been on the ground floor, if you could have been the person that designed that LMI, or you could have invested in the company that designed the LMI, would you have done it? Can you imagine? And they all go, oh my gosh, yeah, that would be crazy. So what I've done now is I have taken them out of the sales world and talked to them in their world. And then I go into the Fitbit or Apple Watch question, because now their hands are down. And then I'm like, can you imagine? You guys know what a Fitbit is, right? Yeah. Everybody says yeah. So you guys, Fitbit started in 2008. They've earned over $2.2 billion last year. Check this out. God, imagine knowing what we know today. Can you imagine what it'd been like to be on the ground floor of Fitbit and earn money? Oh, God, the people that invested in Fitbit in 2008, how lucky are they? If you could have gotten in on the ground floor and earned money off of every Fitbit, wouldn't you? I know you would have done that, right? Now the question says, some of the questions say, would you have done that? Yes or no. I actually tweak it and I say, I know you would have done that, right? I again turn it to a positive question, not giving them an opportunity. Most people aren't going to say no, but you tend to have better luck if you lead the question to a positive affirmative response, right? So then I kind of go into, look, I'm going to go back to the future. And if it's somebody that's kind of my age and maybe was a Michael J. Fox fan, sometimes I'll even go, look, I'm going to go back to the future with Michael J. Fox. Check this out. You guys just told me that you would have absolutely gotten in on the ground floor of Fitbit. Well, listen to what I've got my hands on right now. You are not going to believe this. I've got my hand on a device that is like a Fitbit on steroids. And check this out. Now, here's where I customize my third question. If I'm dealing with somebody who's in the fitness world or in the healthcare world, if it's in the fitness world, I'll talk to them about our new app, our Halo Fit app. We've got a Fitbit on steroids. It does pacing. It checks when you're walking, you're running, even when you're working out. It does blood pressure and EKG. I'll focus on that. If I'm talking to somebody in the business world, I'll say, oh my gosh, it's like a Fitbit on steroids. It does all that a Fitbit does, but check it out. Check out this financial data. You guys, it's got 5.3% market share in its first 6 months of business. It's got 800% growth in its stock. In this industry, this wearable tech industry, $120 billion in growth in the next 10 years. And then I go into that, if I gave you a chance today, you just told me yes to Fitbit. I got something that is Fitbit on steroids. It's Fitbit exponentially. And there's things that you can't even imagine that are coming out that you don't know about right now. If I gave you the chance to be on the ground floor of this company, would you want to do it? Now, most people are going to say, well, you know what? I want more information. And this is where you can lead them into the 2-minute video. Okay? That's how you segue into the 2-minute video. These questions, they're genius. They're absolutely genius. But once you start getting your mojo, once you've talked to them about this, if you've given them enough information that's going to pique their interest, you can say to them, look, in the next 48 hours, I'm going to be filling my top 2 positions. So if those of you that are brand new, you're going to have 2 positions at the top of your binary structure. Those are the 2 most valued positions in your organization. Or if you've been around for a while, you can say, I'm going to be filling my next 10 positions. I'm going to be filling the next 10 positions on my team in the next 48 hours. I'm moving into the second phase of my launch. And you need to make people believe, it has to be, again, it has to be genuine. You need to make people believe that you hand chose them to do this. And that's a little easier with warm markets, but I'll give you an example of a cold market in just a second. So you want them to understand that you chose them. Look, I'm handpicking people. I'm handpicking people to go on this journey with me because this is my company. I walked away from the crane and rigging industry to do this. And I'm only going to walk with people that I know are going to be successful with me. So I'm picking people that are smart, successful, professional people that are going to build this organization with me the way that I want it to be built. That's what I'm going to do. And I chose you, so I would love if I gave you a chance today to earn a profit off of every one of these that sold. We already sold $500,000 in our first quarter. In pre-launch, 500,000 devices. If I gave you a chance to be on the ground floor with me and my organization today, before I give somebody else a chance, is that something you want to do? And it's okay if you're not ready and if you need more information, because if you need more information, I'll get it to you. We can get you to some videos. We can get you a 2-minute video. We can get you a 7-minute video, or we can get you on a webinar for an hour for people to get to answer your questions. But while you're doing that, I'm actually going to go talk to a couple other people. So you need to decide if you want to be in my organization now or you want to look for more stuff, because I'll take you either way, but I'm actually going to start building the next 10 people. You just happen to be at the top of my list. So now you've created urgency. You've created hey, don't go without me. You need to be walking away from them, right? Intellectually walking away from them and make them say, I'm coming. Wait, don't leave without me. And then the last question is, hey, so you said you're ready to go. Let's rock and roll. Let's get you enrolled. You ready to secure this with a MasterCard or Visa? MasterCard start with 5, Visa starts with 4. Let's get your number in. Let's get you started, and let's get you a Hilo so we can start making some money together. That's how you close the 5 questions, okay? So let's go on. So you guys, the new stuff that we focused on last week, Chad and Natita and Nat and Shanita said, we need to start building more stability in our organizations. And I can certainly tell you for mine that one of the ways to be a diamond is to have 6 team developers. I only have 1 on my team right now. And so I built my organization without a lot of stability at the bottom, which is why my income's gone up and down. So what you want to do is you want to have stability at the bottom of your organization, which means you need to build team developers. And that's what Nat wants all of us to focus our efforts around. Within the first 48 hours, he wants everybody to go team builder. That means getting a person on your right and your left at 1349. And the reason you want to do that in 48 hours, you're not prohibited from making money if you don't do it in 48 hours. It's not a deadline per se that way. But the reason you want somebody to go team builder in the first 48 hours is because you want them to get paid. You want people to be rewarded for their efforts in this company, and especially because some people have negative perceptions about network marketing, you want them to want to do this. You want them to want to stay involved, right? And I only have about 12 more minutes before we have to get a Moss's call, so I'm going to speed through this. So team developer, we want to be a team developer factory, TD factory, okay? You see here, everybody needs to understand how this diamond chart works. If you want to be a diamond, all you need are 3 team developers on each side. So what's a team developer? Is you get first 2 and you help them get their 2. You see here, there are 3 team developers on the left and 3 team developers on the right. You do that and you're a diamond. You fill out this sheet 6 times and you're a president. So I've given you the instructions on the left, how many team developers it takes. 3 team developers on the left to make a diamond, 17 on each leg to be a president, or the magic number is 84 team developers on each side, gets you to presidential millionaire. And Nat emphasized over and over and over again in the diamond training last Friday that you absolutely want to have 84 team developers. You want to build your structure, your binary structure, like it's a unilevel, which means you are constantly recruiting and constantly having 10 different personally enrolled people who are trying to build to team developer status, okay? So once you get to team builder and team developer, you can work with your upline and we'll work with you more on becoming diamond and president millionaire. But I wanted to give you this overview. This diamond chart is something everybody should have, and everybody should start penciling in with the people, your swans. You want to put your swans that are prospects in those top 6 spots there, okay? This chart just gives you another summary of our 5 ranks. We have team builder, team developer, diamond, president, and presidential millionaire. And it tells you the variations that you can get there, whether you need 5 presidents or 300 family packs or 500 family packs. I'm not going to go over this. It's self-explanatory when you take a chance to look at it. It's just another way of saying what's on the prior slide. what I want to focus on here, you guys, we've got about 5 more minutes, and then I'm going to let you jump off for Ramacio's call, is Team Developer Pool. So this is brand new. It's changed. It's a brand new compensation they rolled out at the convention. You maybe heard them talk about it on Monday at the President's Council meeting. You may have heard somebody talk about it at night. We talked about it a little bit on Tuesday night. So I wanted to go over it with everybody again really quickly because it's a way to explode your income and your investment. And it's super important, you guys, especially when you're talking to entrepreneurs and businessmen, that you talk to them about ROI, which is return on investment. So to get involved with our company, it's $1,349, comes to just less than $1,500, or about $2,200. So you want to be able to say to somebody, if you invest your $1,500 or $2,000, you're going to be able to get a return on your investment, and let me show you how you do it. And so what we've done with our Team Developer Pool is that 10% that we used to get paid as Fast Start bonus, that 10% commission is going to be going into a pool, and it's going to be saved till the end of the month. And so what they're going to do, their mission, the hope with this, it's a beta test. They want to try to get us to have more team developers across the company, both for structure and stability for ourselves, but for the company as well. And so the time frame to do this is there's 2 categories, whether you become a team developer within the first 7 days that you've enrolled, or if you become a team developer in 8 to 30 days. Once you're a team developer, you're going to get compensated, and you're going to get 3 shares if you do it in 7 days, or 1 share if you do it in 8 to 30 days. Then what happens is all of the loyalty bonuses that are paid, that 10% of the commission, right, the $6, they take that $6 and they put it into basically a big pot, right? And at the end of the month, everybody who's earned shares is going to split that pot. So the only people that are going to get a chance to split the pot are the people who are team developers. Either yourself, you had to have gone team developer, or you had to have sponsored people that have become team developers, because your job is to build team developers. That's my job, recruiting people as well. And so if you are the sponsor of somebody that goes team developer in 7 days, you get 3 shares. If you're the sponsor of somebody that goes team developer in 8 to 30 days, you get 1 share. At the end of the month, you're going to total those up, and then they're going to divide the pool. So there was about $154,000 in the pool in September. They used it as an example when they were running some tests to see if this would work. And it turned out that everybody was going to get around $151 of commission for every 1 share they had. So I'm going to take you back up here. I gave you an example down at the bottom that they told us about at the convention. That was September's example. But I want to go back to this chart. So assume that's you at the top, and you have 6 team developers that you enrolled this cycle. So you obviously went team developer, so you're going to get your shares for going team developer either in 7 days or in 30 days. So you're going to get either 3 or 1 shares for doing that. But then for every person that goes team developer, if those people, if you have somebody that goes, you go diamond in your first week, you're going to get 18 shares. 18 shares. And remember, those shares were about $150 a share. That's another almost $3,000 that you would earn in a month if you go diamond in your first week. That's the brilliance of this, is it's taking the shares and rewarding the people with that $6 bonus. Like Alessandro Senatore said, $6, not so sexy. $3,000, a lot more sexy, right? So we want to encourage everybody, get your 2, get your first 2, your team builder right away. Do launch calls, whatever you have to do, work with your upline, work with your sponsor to get your 2, and then help them get their 2, because we want everybody to have a chance to have some of these shares in the team developer pool. And then you guys, these are the last activities that we have. I'm going to let you go really quick. They talk about these on the Saturday call. I want to make sure everybody gets on the call with Ramacio. Saturday at 10 in the morning Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern time. It's the same phone number that we're going to use tonight, which is 557-557-0000. So jump on Zoom so you can check out what Moss and Jeremy Romer are going to talk about. It's starting in about 5 minutes. So I thank you guys for joining me tonight. I hope that was helpful. I tried to get through it really quickly, added a few more things, hopefully that'll help you get started, and some tips. Come back on Tuesday nights and Thursday nights every week. Tuesday nights is our general team training. Thursday nights is for new team members. The general team training, I think Jen's going to take it next week, and I'm going to be doing a session on how to recruit rich people. If you haven't watched Ramacio's video on that, definitely do it. It's on YouTube. It's brilliant. And I'm just going to be regurgitating to you some of the stuff that he taught and how I've incorporated that into the network of people that I've recruited. But be with us every Tuesday and Thursday. Normally, it's at 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern. Next Tuesday starting at 5:30. But also don't forget Ramacio's call tonight at 6 and then Ramasio's call again at 10 Pacific on Saturday morning, 557-557-0000. So thank you, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the call. I appreciate all of you showing up. We had a big turnout. We had about 31 people. So thanks. I appreciate your support since this was my first solo go. Bye, everybody.